gamers, and welcome back to Kerrex Reviews. And boy has it been a hectic few months for us, mainly involving a few things that shall go unmentioned. But now I feel it's the time for us to delve into a classic story titled Gulliver's Travels. Originally published under the title Travels into Several Remote Nations of the World in 4 parts by Lemuel Gulliver, first a surgeon and then a captain of several ships.
Whew! Try saying that 3 times fast.
Gulliver's Travels was a novel published by Anglo-Irish writer and clergyman Jonathan Swift back in 1726. It's primarily known for its use of Juvillian satire and is one of the most recognized and celebrated satirical pieces of the English language, mainly for showcasing Swift's views and utter contempt for English culture of the time. It also demonstrates how the world was entertained by a Swift back in the 18th century, as opposed to the way the world is entertained by a Swift today. There's also a number of film works adapting
shit that causes mass confusion and drastic movement to people acting stupid. It's fight music.
DJ Milky, what are you doing?
Well, you see, the thing is, I always have to distract myself whenever there's a Taylor Swift song that's playing in the background. Because, see, it's my kind of thing.
Get out of here! Well, so where was I? Oh, yes. There's also been a number of film works adapting the book throughout the 20th century, each one showcasing the march towards technological leaps and bounds on displaying the story on the silver screen. Although most of them never seem to adapt the full story, which I guess would be hard to do, especially for a 90-minute movie, and a film that's made for kids,
I will not hesitate.
Which is a side effect of the original book being censored by later publishers to be reworked and falsely labeled as a children's story. Which brings us to today's subject, because in 2010, a new film adaptation was brought to the big screen, starring Jack Black. Yes, you heard right. Someone actually decided to do another version of this story. Only this time, they set it in the modern world, because once again, they're targeting it to children, which it was never meant for, and worse yet, the children that are living in a self-obsessed society where they can't see any value in any culture or time period beyond their own. So let's not hold this off any longer. This is Gulliver's Travels. As we are reminded how much of a letdown fucking Fox's 75th anniversary was, the movie begins with a view of the city that just so conveniently has landscaping in the shape of the film's opening credits, which transitions to inside a studio apartment as we see our first humorous moment.
Oh, give me your press badge. No way, you're not my dad. Then I shall take it by force.
Gee, I wonder what this reminds me of.
Luke, I am your father.
Aw, I've interrupted happy time.
We then get to see him going through his morning routine while shot at an angle that's meant to be foreshadowing of some sort, where he then heads off for his dead-end job at a mailroom service where he meets a newly hired intern.
You're hired. I'm Lemuel Gulliver. Welcome to the team.
So basically the film decided to keep his original name. I'm not quite sure whether to chalk this up as faithfulness or just flat-out laziness. He then goes into usual Jack Black mode.
Feel it, feel it. Okay. Oh, got a little something for you?
What are you doing? You can't talk to those guys.
I'm just respectful of their workspace. I talk to these people all the time.
As we get the overly exaggerated gaze on love interest shot. You know, the only way this would be any more formulaic would be if they played that classic Tchaikovsky piece. You know the one.
Got any mail for me?
Yeah. No.
Maybe. After shooting the breeze with her, he and the intern converse on the subject until getting in an elevator.
Why don't you just ask her out?
Yep, definitely feel like I'm watching a film about Gulliver's Travels.
Hold on!
Later, he finds out that the new intern has been upgraded to being his new boss.
You're not my boss anymore. What are you talking about? I just got promoted.
Just to emphasize how much of a loser Gulliver is.
I'm your boss now.
He then passes by Darcy where he tries desperately to impress her by saying that he's an author who travels the world.
I had no idea you wrote or traveled.
I do. I travel a lot. Go to New Zealand, been to the Congo, which I know is in Africa because I travel, and write.
She asks for a sample later.
Well, why don't you bring in a writing sample tomorrow morning and I'll see what I can do.
Perfect.
We cut to his apartment where he's struggling on writing this movie's script. To write a traveler's article. He then decides to plagiarize the shit out of it, which somehow impresses her.
Wow. I am so impressed, Gulliver. I had no idea you were such a good writer.
Which is strange since she's supposed to be a travel writer herself and should have seen between the lines or checked out her sources, something even high school and college professors do in this kind of situation.
Well, you gotta hand it to him. He clearly put a lot more effort into it than the screenwriters did for this movie.
This, of course, backfires on him, as she is enthusiastic enough to recommend him to interview a guy in Bermuda,
It's not a big story,
while
but
foreshadowing the events to come. He reluctantly takes the offer as he heads off for Bermuda, as we are then treated to a series of boats named after bad puns.
Not for sale. They really went puntastic on that boat.
Yeah, this is apparently what the film considers to be good satire. He then heads off to the oceans as we see some more foreshadowing.
Yeah, how to build your own robot? Yeah, that's gonna happen.
When he suddenly finds himself in a dead zone of product placement. He also ends up in the Bermuda Triangle. He tries and fails to prep himself, only to be completely washed away by the same shitty effect that took Will Ferrell. As he wakes up to find himself in Lilliput.
I am General Edward Edwardian, Commander of Lilliput.
I should also mention that we're about 16 minutes into the movie, and it's only now that the story is starting to get in gear. Why is this important?
Because the film doesn't even hit the 90-minute mark. Not to mention the fact that these effects are really flimsy. Now, in earlier film adaptations, they would always try to push the envelope in the advances of special effects and technology, conveying the scope and size of the scene to make it appear grand and extravagant. Whereas here it just comes off as cheap and tacky. Anyway, he breaks himself free only to have his pants slip and ends up falling on some poor fool who got himself caught in the crossfire.
Yes. Well worth the 3D ticket price.
He then gets wheelbarrowed into the mainland of Lilliput as he is greeted by wasted talent. He then finds himself imprisoned in a cave, where he meets a fellow prisoner who is also wasted talent. He was apparently sent there by the general for hitting on the princess.
Princess Mary.
That's it? He put you in prison for hitting on his lady?
The general then arrives to escort him to the labor camp while wearing some Wild Wild West getup. As the enemy lines called Belfusions are approaching and set the place aflame, where they waste time on some Abbott and Costello bit with only 1/10 of the charm as who's on first.
Fire! Fire! 2 bells! That was 3! It's an attack!
No, it actually sounded more like 2 bells, and then a pause, and then a 3rd bell. So it's an attack and a fire?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Jesus Christ, man! What the hell is wrong with you? Please, just shut up! Fuck!
They head off to the castle so the general can save the princess from getting captured, and Gulliver breaks free and tries his hands on the subject.
My darling, I am here to save you!
But there's still the fire that needs to be taken care of, and here's a scene featuring one of the few elements from the book they actually bothered to keep in the movie.
Mama make shot. There's no doubt. Light a fire and pee it out. How dare you evacuate yourself on our great and glorious...
Which makes me wonder why he didn't also defecate on them. I mean, he might as well at this point.
Let me pull up my trousers.
He is then declared a hero for saving King El Duce,
Our savior!
and he is invited to a banquet.
The king requests the honor of your company at a banquet this evening. Do you accept?
Yeah, on one condition. You free my friend Horatio and allow me to bring him as my +1.
He is jailed for unlawful courting. He must
That's
return.
my condition.
The king requests the honor of your and Horatio the Glovier's company at a royal banquet this evening. Do you accept?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you could really tell they were restraining themselves from having him say, "Hell yeah, bro."
Hell yeah, bro! Yeah, Dad, Conqueror's Fur Day, hell yes!
And with the condition set, the banquet is officially on. While everyone is silently expressing lament for their choice to be in this movie. They wonder if he came from the island of the unspeakable, which I'm guessing is supposed to be Brobdingnag.
Some people believe you have come from the island where we dare not go.
I'm from the island of Manhattan.
But instead, he starts spouting bullshit about how he was the president of Manhattan.
I was actually known as President the Awesome?
President the Awesome. I should imagine they are falling apart without you, their greatest hero.
And Yoda's vice president.
But Vice President Yoda can run things without me for a while.
I think I just lost 2 brain cells by saying that one sentence.
They then start building some accommodations for him while he's waiting for his boat to be located.
Gulliver, your media room is ready.
And we are then treated with fucking Fox flaunting out their film library in some cheap attempt at satire.
But it was meant.
But instead, it just comes off as Seltzer and Friedberg light.
I'm king of the world!
Gulliver then has a talk with Horatio about how to get women, and we get yet another Fox library shilling.
After you were brought back to life as an avatar.
Oh wait, this isn't on his TV theater, so it's just useless padding.
Princess!
They also force in a Prince reference.
You don't have to be rich to be my girl.
You don't have to be cool to rule my world.
You don't have to be cool to rule my world.
This is gonna be fun.
Horatio, these passionate words could get us into trouble.
I don't think it's working.
My pants are good. Shake it.
I've never been wooed with such unique passion.
I've never felt such a strange combination of pity and indigestion.
Oh, I hear someone coming.
The general then walks in, tries courting the princess again.
I have come to court you.
As she ponders what could have been career-wise.
You've done sewing.
Sewing, yes, and embroidery, trying to...
I captured a hawk today. I came behind him and captured him with my bare hand. This is impressive also. It is over now.
The general advises Gulliver of the good news that they discovered the remains of his boat, while the film shovels out even more blatant product placement. When he grabs his phone to find voice messages, it turns out to be Darcy, who just now looked up the plagiarized articles and is taken off to search for him.
I've totally forgiven you. Oh wait, no I haven't, because now I have to get seasick on a boat to cover your butt. Thanks for this. I can't believe you lied to me. I trusted you. Wherever you're hiding, stay there. I never want to hear from you again.
They're not even trying to hide the formulaic elements of the plot anymore. They pretty much went through the whole misunderstanding story structure beat for beat.
Isn't that just the most fantastic?
This of course puts Gulliver into a state of depression, and he has a chat with the princess.
You do look quite forlorn.
Just for the record, what's forlorn mean again? Is it like sad?
Basically, it's just a bit more dramatic sounding. I am forlorn as well. I don't know what to do.
Why did I turn down the part of Black Widow for this piece of shit?
I think I'm in love with Horatio.
Oh, well, that works too, I guess.
Most people spend their whole...
He tells her to follow her heart.
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart. Follow your heart.
He then feels like he should stay,
I can't imagine anyone in Lilliput not wanting you to stay as long as possible.
which leaves the general a bit perturbed.
I trusted not this beast Gulliver who livest in our midst. He can now leave it, but he chooses to stay. And furthermore...
Now I shalleth not be ableth to join the its crowd, if...
Inside Castle Voice, Please. Forgive me. Forgive me.